When I learned my resident says Phoebe built a nest on my property, I wanted to learn all about them and how not to disturb the nest. So I turned to the easiest resource, YouTube. But while I found countless videos of the birds doing their thing and nest cams documenting the chicks from hatchling to fledgling, I found absolutely no videos talking about them and how they went about this process, or more importantly, what not to do when finding a nest. So that's what this video is all about. First of all, let's learn about the Say's Phoebe. It's a cute little western songbird about the size of a robin, but they don't go to feeders because they're flycatchers. They don't pump their tails as much as the eastern phoebes, but they will perch on twigs about eye level until they ambush an insect, after which they usually return to the same perch. My local one, who I believe to be a male, loves to perch on top of our shed, shown here, until I get too close, at which time he flies over to nearby creosote bushes and hunts from there. You won't find these birds in forests. They prefer the desert and other dry open areas. While other phoebes stay close to waterways, like the black one shown here from my second Salt River video, Says will gravitate towards buildings and often nest under eaves or other protected outdoor structures, like our pump house, where this nest was located. Like I said, they know a good place when they find it, and our pump house was perfect. The pump house is enclosed for the most part, but it has openings all around the bottom and under the eaves. The barred gate lets the birds fly to and fro with ease as well. Now the pump comes on when water is used, and it's really noisy, but that didn't seem to bother them. I think the fact that they were high enough off the ground to avoid detection by predators outweighed those concerns. The only time we went in there was to fix the pump when it broke or grab a tool or a chair we kept in there. Now, according to my research, when you find a nest, these are the things you are not supposed to do. You avoid the nests in the early morning, during the first few days of incubation, when the chicks are about to fledge, during bad weather, at or after dusk, and when a chick falls out. Now, this last part is kind of tricky. I know your first impulse will be to help it, but according to the Cornell Laboratory of Ornithology, that's usually not necessary. If it's a fledgling and you put it back in the nest, it'll just throw itself out again. Most baby birds that are found are fledglings. Now, it's a different story if it's a nestling. So, how do you tell the difference? Well, fledglings look like babies because they are adorable and fluffy and have a tiny stubby tail. They can also hop and flit around, and if you pick them up, they can grip your fingers tightly. But if the bird is sparsely feathered and cannot seem to hop, walk, flit around, or grip your finger, it's a nestling. And if so, you put it back in the nest as quickly as possible. Don't worry about the parents abandoning it because of your scent. That's a myth. Birds don't recognize each other by smell. If the nest is destroyed, you can try to make another one and wait to see if the parents come back. When you're sure the bird is an orphan, then you get it to a wildlife rehabilitator as soon as possible. Now, I only learned this after I experienced it. Every day around dusk, I go outside to rebuild the bird feeders and the bird baths. When I discovered the nest, I was truly alarmed and tried to keep my distance, but all the things I needed and used were right by the pump house. Then one day, I was watching the birds from a distance when their song suddenly changed pitch, and there was some erratic flying around the pump house. I thought that maybe the neighbor's cat was about, but when I walked over there, that's when I saw a chick on the ground. I immediately scooped it up and put it back in the nest without thinking about it. The parents had flown out of sight when I did this, and I never saw when and if they returned because it was getting dark. No wonder she or he, one of the parents, was calling to it and going up and then coming down. And let's see if I can find right now. She just went down on the ground. Hope that's not another one that's fledged. Oh, it's either the same one or it's She's trying to get them to fledge. She probably saw me. Look, there's one of them. There's one of the parents up at the top. I think they're fledging too soon by what I read, and I hope to God it's not my fault. I didn't go anywhere. I just went over to turn the water off and on. Yeah, and let's see, one of the parrots just flew over there. So this went on and on. My main concern was that it was getting dark and they'd be in danger if they stayed on the ground. But most likely the parents knew what they were doing, and the one I returned to the nest probably came right back out. I didn't stay to see. Now I know, and if this ever happens again, I won't make the same mistake. I hope I didn't scare them away forever, because I love them, and I love to hear those little Says Phoebes songs. They're so precious. The Says Phoebes have fledged, and this is the nest that they'd made. I think it's very interesting that at the very top, the parrots lined it with this soft stuff, which to me looks like the hair of one of our dogs, Bodie.